Hi, I'm Deb McBride, and I am an astrologer in New York City. And I'm here on this lovely Sunday to discuss some interesting things that have happened in the last few days. One of them is that Jupiter has entered the sign of Libra, which is the first time in 12, 13 years that we've had this. Now, Jupiter is the planet of abundance, and we like Jupiter because Jupiter brings us opportunity and good things and brings us openness and opportunity and optimism. And we are connected, in Jupiter is a social planet, so we get connected very easily to other people that way. It opens our world, it expands our world. Jupiter is an expansive influence, and so we enjoy having Jupiter in our life. Jupiter, if you are a Libra, this is actually very good for you. This is going to open more doors for you. If you're looking for a new job, it's particularly good. If you are having some stressful difficulties in your life, Jupiter's arrival is usually very helpful. It is a protective influence. It sort of buffers what we experience that could be stressful. There is a certain quality to Jupiter that could be overdoing it because it's a big, brash kind of energy, and it kind of plows through things. And it rules Sagittarius, which is a fiery sign. So Jupiter is kind of a fiery planet. And it really does exaggerate things a little bit. So while I trust Jupiter, and Jupiter is an element of trust, if we have a lot of Jupiter going on, we can feel that we trust something, trust wherever that's falling for us. And while I trust Jupiter, I do always issue a cautionary sentence or two about Jupiter because we can tend to overdo it. We can overeat. Think, oh, I'm doing well, I'm exercising every day. Jupiter can cause us to sort of relax a little bit and not be so stressed out. And so we might overeat or overindulge in something. Maybe dessert, maybe alcohol. Jupiter does things in a big way. Jupiter's not someone that keeps things small and tidy. Jupiter expands, and that means our waistband can expand. And so that's something to be careful of with Jupiter. Our wallet can expand, but we can also spend as soon as it comes in. So Jupiter is something to be careful of there too, because we want to make sure that we're not pulling it in and sending it right back out again. Jupiter has a tendency to be a bit of a spendthrift, to go out and be very overconfident in their income and say, oh yeah, don't worry, I'll just pay for this on my credit card and it'll be fine. And then, maybe next week there's an extra tax in their paycheck and they didn't realize that. So it's a cautionary sentence or two about Jupiter. We just need to keep going forward, and as always, and not spend too much time thinking about how we can expand our world if it isn't appropriate. However, if you are looking for a new job and Jupiter has entered your sign, such as Libra, then it is a really good time to do that. Really good time to expand your work life. Jupiter in Libra is about relationships. Libra is a relationship-oriented sign. Libra is the balance. So it's between you and me. It's especially the one-to-one relationships. Libra is an expert at that, or tries to be an expert at that. And Libra isn't one for big brash movements like Jupiter. Libra is balanced, serene, harmonious. And so the experience of Jupiter in Libra may be a little oversized, because when Jupiter starts to expand Libra's world, somehow Libra gets the notion that they can have good relationships with everybody. Now, on the one hand, yes, this is true. Now we all have Libra in our chart somewhere. So Libra is where we tend to relate, and it's the one-to-one, like I said. It rules the house of one-to-one personal and professional relationships. So when we get Jupiter to Libra, we want to work on our relationships. It's a good time to expand the notion of relationship, our thoughts about relationships, how we experience relationships in our life. So, for example, if you're having difficulty with your boss, this is a good time to work on smoothing things over. If you are having trouble in your family, you got to kind of get control over this. It's a good time to work on relationships in your family. this is the time to work on relationships that you want to nurture and expand. With Jupiter in Libra, we tend to think that we're going to meet that special someone. Hey, this is the time. It's possible. It's got to be possible just as it is in any other time of your life. You have to own responsibility for that, etc., like we always do. But what I caution people about with Jupiter and Libra is getting overconfident in their relationships because of Jupiter's expansiveness and confidence, and possibly taking things for granted a little bit, or thinking they can get away with things. Jupiter's very good at thinking it can get away with things. In mythology, Jupiter was Zeus. So in Greek mythology, it was Zeus, and in Roman mythology, it's Jupiter. And so remember Zeus's behavior. If you know things about mythology, if you studied mythology in your life, you probably know that Zeus was a brash, entitled kind of guy, and he got whatever he wanted, even if he behaved badly. And people sort of had no choice because he deceived them or tricked them, and Zeus would inject himself into certain scenarios and situations that were less than savory. For example, he would, disguise himself as a particular animal to get the attention of a woman. And this would happen again and again, and the women would fall for it each time, and they would, all different women each time, and they would then be with this animal and then realize it's Zeus and that he's playing a game with them, and they had to sort this out with him. And so this is how he got into situations. This is how he deceived people. This is how he got what he wanted. And he was a very sexual god, Zeus. So Jupiter in Libra can behave in a similar way. Relationships, they might think, okay, I can do this. I can manage two relationships at the same time. Well, if you're being honest about it, you tell each person, yes, I'm seeing someone else, then that's fine. If you're not, and you think you can get away with it, chances are it's going to cause a problem at some point. So this is another cautionary tale about Jupiter. It is a very good influence in many ways, and it can help you in your relationship in many ways. It is a good time to seek out help for relationships if you are having difficulty. Jupiter is protective. Jupiter is the influence of the greater benefic, being expansive and being someone that gives us gifts. So there is a gift in relationships right now, and that's a good thing. But Jupiter isn't the only thing that's happening. Right now we also have Saturn and Neptune, which are squaring for the last time. So Saturn really is the influence of the structure, the gatekeeper, where we have to confront fears and anxieties, where we have to confront reality, where we have to confront what is blocking or protecting us from in certain ways. Sometimes we're blocked for our own good. With Jupiter, we open the door and we feel protected, and so we go out and take the risk. Saturn's not like that. Saturn really has to calculate everything before they start taking risks, or before they start making agreements and moving forward. That would be Saturn's structure and Saturn's caution, because Saturn is the more cautious planet. Neptune, that Saturn is engaged with, is not as cautious either. He's more like Jupiter, but Neptune does not so much provide opportunity as it provides vision, intuition, openness, and spirit openness. So Neptune is more of a spiritual planet of the ethers and of illusion and vision and what our vision is right now. Now, Saturn and Neptune have been dancing together for a year, and they're in this square, this 90-degree angle to one another, which is what we call a hard aspect. That relationship has been tough because Neptune wants to expand in a spirited, intuitive, visionary way. What is my vision? I want to achieve my vision. What is my dream? What am I thinking of? What dream have I always had, and what feels intuitively right for me? Am I being presented with it? And Saturn's objection to this. What is Saturn objecting to? It's not reality. Your head's in the clouds. You're not thinking clearly. And this is the argument that we have each been having with ourselves for a year. Now, you may have someone in your life that you're having this argument with. Say you're married and one partner wants to move to a bigger home, and the other partner's saying we can't afford it. And the other partner's saying, we can have we sell our house and we make some money, da da da. And each has its own argument. One is very based in reality. One is more of a dream. So this can easily be happening in your relationships, and this is where Jupiter kind of comes in and smooths things over. But we have been having this within ourselves. Remember, everybody outside of us is a reflection of ourselves. And this is all hand in hand. Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, and Libra. Everyone outside of us is a reflection of ourselves. So Saturn is the reality reflection and Neptune is the dream reflection. And where does your dream meet reality? Where can they be together and you can focus your dream so that it becomes a reality, that you can commit to your dream? Focus and commitment are big Saturn words. If you have focus, if you are committed and truly committed, not half committed with one foot in the door and one foot out of the door, if you're truly committed to your dream and what you want in your life, you'll get it. Saturn shows you the way to navigate your life so that you can get that dream, so that you can achieve that goal. And Neptune is about goals. It is about the dream we have to reach certain goals and the vision we have for our life. Where have you lost your vision? Maybe in your life you can't see it right now. Maybe it's just been so weighed down by Saturn's reality that you can't grasp it. And it's been very complicated this year with all the aspects and the Mars retrograde, etc., etc. Maybe you can't see that dream anymore. Maybe you don't feel like you touch it as much. So that's where you need to have a little more dose of Neptune. So they've been stressful, back and forth with each other. Planets do this little dance. They come close, they separate. They come close, they separate. This is the last closeness we are having right now of Saturn and Neptune. And so what we should start to feel is that the dream can become a reality. Or the dream really wasn't the right dream, and we are in the reality of, wow, that was not the right dream. I'm really glad I waited this out to see how it would play out, and I'm glad I didn't commit to it because it's not the right thing for my life. We're going to find all of this out in these coming days, in these coming weeks, because now that Saturn and Neptune have crossed paths in this exact way for the last time, and they'll do it again, but not for years. This last time with the two of them, this square really is important. This is the last one. This is where we say, okay, checklist. Is it realistic for me to continue this journey, this vision, this dream? Is it realistic? Yes. And then what are the parameters of that? What are the pieces of it that are still realistic? If you don't check the box and you don't say yes to this, where have you realized you can't fulfill this or don't want to fulfill this? Remember, if we're being kept from it, it's for our own good for some reason. I know that's hard to believe. Later on, you find out why. There's a reason for it. It isn't just randomly, well, sorry, you can't have that dream. For some reason, maybe, the couple that I mentioned before, that I made up, maybe they can't get a bigger house because it would be too much for them. Maybe it's too much work. Maybe you have, a dream of expanding your work life to go freelance or something. Maybe that's what it is, and it just isn't the right time. Maybe it's not the right time for you to expand your world in other ways that Neptune experiences. Neptune is very much a visionary. It could be about arts and photography and film work, and maybe your work involves that. Maybe that your everyday work involves those aspects. They are truly visionary paths in life when you're in the arts. Neptune really does rule the arts, as does Venus, but Neptune in particular. But Venus is busy with Jupiter and Libra right now, so they're entangled with one another. And Venus is very polite and doesn't like if Jupiter pushes her buttons. In any event, I don't think that anyone is having an easy time yet, because we are still in the thick of Mercury retrograde. We're still in the thick of this Saturn Neptune. We still have things to figure out. This has been a long year of figuring out the new path in our lives. This year has been particularly complicated, intense, and difficult in ways that I haven't seen in a long time astrologically. This isn't, you know, we had Uranus and Pluto for a long time, for 3 years, and they're finally moving away from each other, 3-4 years really. And they were more of a higher level purpose thing. This is a little more down to earth and reality based because of Saturn, because Jupiter was entangled with this relationship between Saturn and Neptune a year ago. So Jupiter was in Virgo then, the sign before Libra. So Jupiter has just left Virgo, now going into Libra. And Jupiter coming in and at that time a year ago and settling in with Saturn and Neptune really made for some complicated experiences. There is a part of that was overly optimistic because of the Jupiter Neptune, and then Saturn kept saying, you know, this is not the reality. You can't really do this. Look at it more clearly. There were more whimsical things happening, say, a year ago, things that were flights of fancy, and now if they have stood the test of time of 2016, and there have been opportunities presented to you as a result of them, I believe that those are opportunities one should take. If after all is said and done, after the Saturn Neptune, things still appear to you and they are still available to you, then by all means, take them and take the leap. Because Saturn's in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is the sign of taking the leap. Saturn does not like taking leaps. Saturn says you have to work hard to take that leap. You're going to take a leap, you better be ready to work hard once you take it, because it's not going to be just so easy. Once you do that, you have other responsibilities after the leap is taken. Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra, and it is in Sagittarius, which is Jupiter's sign. So now Saturn and Jupiter are in a position where they are in each other's homes. Saturn is living in Jupiter's home. Jupiter is living in a home that Saturn really does rule Capricorn, but it has a great relationship with Libra because Saturn rules justice and Libra wants justice. Libra always wants the balance of justice. So Saturn and Jupiter are an interesting combination, again, because Saturn is the one that criticizes and makes smaller and restructures, and Jupiter's like, we don't need to worry about that. We'll just, open the doors and invite everybody in. And Saturn's like, they're not on the guest list. They can't come in. I didn't write them down. I don't know who these people are. So where Jupiter is more open, Saturn is more restricted, but they work together. One cannot exist without the other. So what we need to look at here is that where is the relationship between Saturn and Jupiter, between the balance in our life and between taking a risk. The balance is Libra, the risk is Sagittarius. One is fire, one is air. The air of Libra really helps us analyze what we need to do. So we do need to analyze this a little bit and put some thought into the risks we take. So that's important. It's great to know that we can have balance. It's great to know. I think Jupiter is in Libra and is a better place. Virgo wasn't the happiest place for Libra, so the last year that Jupiter has been living in that sign of Virgo, Libra is much better for Jupiter. Jupiter's a lot happier. So in just these last few days. So I think that it's going to work out better in the long run for all of us because we can actually grasp what we want and we need to do now. Jupiter is in a much more serene and harmonious place, which is better because Libra likes serene and harmonious. But do remember what I said. Wherever Jupiter is, we can't overestimate relationships. We can't overestimate or be overconfident or be brash in any of our dealings with people. We still need to use Libra's politeness, Libra's diplomacy, for sure, diplomacy. Jupiter isn't always diplomatic. It tries, but Libra is more of a diplomatic sign. Saturn in Sagittarius working with Jupiter in Libra, It's far more diplomatic. So remember to keep in balance. Remember to keep moving forward. Remember to not let your fears give you anxiety about taking a risk. Remember that your fears are there to help you navigate, but not take over, and not to allow you to make a mistake or not take the risk. Examine your fears. Look at them. Are they based in reality, or are they just random fear? What happens if you just put them aside and imagine the risk without the fears? When the if, and buts come up in your brain, can you see that they are rooted in reality, or are they just excuses? What is the excuse in not taking the risk? What is stopping you from taking the risk? Because after this weekend, and after this, we have an eclipse next week, by the end of September, which has been a busy astrology month, by the end of September, we should know where we're going. And this Saturn-Neptune is part of it. It's like, did your dream stand the test of time? Am I thinking realistically? And if you can answer those questions, if things are still coming to you, well then for sure, this is a really good time. Take the risk. Ask yourself about it. My name is Deb McBride. I'm an astrologer in New York City, and my website is debmcbride.com. I have a blog. I just wrote a blog about all of these topics of Saturn and Neptune and Jupiter and Libra, so check it out. And I do sessions in New York City, and I do healing work. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me and ask me questions. Maybe you have some questions about what I talked about today. Maybe you have questions about my blog. I also offer astrocartography reports, so have a look at those as well. Thank you very much for listening, and have a good night.